So, like, last night in bed, like that's probably why Marty had that conversation with Trish, is like, I was breaking my heart into the duvets.
And he...
Like, I literally couldn't control my emotions. And I just feel like, I almost feel like I've disappointed, like, my family if I get, like, a really bad reception, or I get painted out to be, like, a really fucking shit person. But I know
they won't paint you out like that.
But I feel like I know I'm, like, genuinely, like, one of the nicest people you will meet. And I know that I know my heart's in the right place.
Chanel.
For people I care about.
But that's...
I won't say sorry for that.
No, and I don't think you owe anyone an apology.
No.
And I will stand by that. Like, I will stand by that. And I know exactly how you feel.
Put out the line, and
we
it's
don't...
Like one comment could actually change your life. And that's what's scaring me.
That's not a comment directed at anyone.
The thing is, if anything, all it shows is how much your friends mean to you, what you said. You just said, I will forgive, but not forget. It shows that you are forgiving what's happened,
and the thing
you always remain true to yourself and true to your friends. It doesn't...
And I think I said that in the podcast. I was like, who's your role models? Who's your role models?
Friends.
And I was like, well, my mother... I said, everyone said mum. And then I said, well, I'm just going to agree with everyone because your mother is always going to be your role model. But my role models are my friends because they become your family and they are your, like, support network. And I look up to every one of my friends. Like, they're, like, the most amazing people.
And you choose them, and you choose them to be in your life for a reason. And
I've had the same friends since play school.
That's mad.
Says a lot. Like, the same group of girls, we've been going on holidays since we were, like, 17, and we're nearly 30. And I will stand by, and I think I'm so, like, passionate about friendships because it's ingrained in me from such good friends. And I think that's why I get protective, and that's why I'll forgive, I won't forget, because I get protective over people I care about.
But the conversation as well, I was like, tomorrow it's going to be fucking hard. And Jenkins was like, yeah, for you. Like, that was the way he responded. And Chanel was like, yeah, for you. Like, it wasn't like, yeah, for you. It was like a very light-hearted, like, conversation. And that's what upsets me the most, is the way it's been painted out. And you being left to feel like, and I felt it before. So and I think that's maybe why, in a sense, I'm not a stranger to feeling like this, because after Soupgate, and I had Noki ignoring me because she heard 2 letters and believed that that's exactly what happened, is that she heard 2 letters and believed that me and Hallie would be talking about her and wouldn't. I think we slept in the same bed that night, but we didn't talk till the next day. And, like, that was take an inch and run a mile. And
that was, like, a situation I said to Noki at the time when you hadn't spoken. And, oh no, it was the situation after the nominations. And I think I said something along the lines. I was like, listen, because she was feeling terrible. And I said, listen, when you speak to her when she's ready, like, you can explain that you did have her back, and you didn't, or did you ever say, I don't know, I said, I don't know, the conversation had gone on, like, I don't know, but you can express that to Olivia when she's ready. And I was like, I think the question is, which way you're asking is, like, did you have her back in that process? Like, did you fight her corner, being like, were there conversations of to why Olivia, did them conversations go on? And she said yes. And I said, okay, that's fair enough. I said, but she doesn't know that yet. So when she's ready to have the conversation, then you can obviously say whatever. And she was like, yeah.
Retreat. Like, I tried.
I know the bam, 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 bam.
Well, yeah, that's very. Thanks for helping me see that, because I didn't see that before.
Thank you.
Cheers.
just that girl.
Jeez.
It's good, all this reflection. It's actually good.
Today's been so therapeutic for me. I went
And people
to
say,
diary,
like,
I had to say.
why do we always have to have deep conversations in the house?
Guys,
But I
give
think
me
they
a
actually
drink,
are
please.
important. You know?
Yeah.
Like, they actually are because it's like,
It's
maybe the ones who...
Yeah.
But in that case, I just feel like it's so against each other. Giving encouragement at the same time will be considered as adding pressure to someone. So in that case, before people giving encouragement or compliment, people and everyone will start to think, does this person able to accept it, or does this person would consider it as a burden? And if this person consider this as a burden, will this person tell me or not? And also as a label thing. Sorry, let me land.
So it's
no, it's the same thing. It's still the same question. When I leave a comment to this person, will this being considered as giving a label to this person, or I'm just being open with my expression, with my feeling? It's like Paul is open to his expression. This is his point of view. That's why he gives a comment on Noki in public.
Yeah.
But that be considered as a label. Same as you leave your expression based on Paul's behavior, and it becomes a label.
Yeah.
But does that also influence the fact that people should be open to express their feeling? Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And this is where it becomes an individual thing. For example, as friends, we're still getting to know each other. So there may be some things that I say to you that in your culture, I may be encouraging something that you've been trying to get away from. Do you understand? And I may not know that.
No idea
exactly,
to know.
exactly. This is where we say it's not a blame thing.
Yes.
It's a conversation thing.
Yes.
And this is why if I was to say something to you,
that makes sense.
and you can say to me, actually, in China, that's seen as an offense.
Yeah.
I can't say, oh yeah, but I didn't mean it as an offense.
Yeah.
I have to accept and say, oh, you know what, I'm really sorry. What I meant is, and clarify that.
Yes.
So it's never a point of, oh, this is your fault, because I didn't understand that.
No strength. What's for those people who are not comfortable to say it back, say actually, because maybe for me, sometimes I would just think, it's just a compliment.
Yeah.
For those people, I think it's gonna be a large amount of people. Probably it's more like self tension. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Because when I think it's not necessary to say it back, like when you tell me I'm strong, and then I explain, actually I'm not that strong every day.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. I just take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, that might.
In your emotions.
But I don't add extra tension on myself to think
so I was like, oh, thank God I'm not doing
there's
this.
Mine was
this
the biggest
expectation
fucking
I need to
emotional response
reach.
today.
Maybe this is
But I
one
didn't
thing
really
as
expect
well.
that to be.
And also
felt
when you
like, oh
say
my
it
God,
back,
at least if
how
Matthew
many
does
people
it.
can accept it?
And I'm not one to
but
have
that's the thing.
cried before in
It
the house.
depends on
or like
how you've
nothing like that.
experienced
I
it.
know,
So
yeah.
you're not
I was trying to do when I'm saying that is try and give Chanel a bit of reassurance that no one hates her, but actions are different. So
yeah, I agree. Actions speak louder than words.
I just feel really bad, and I think because I've now spoke to Trish and I'm at peace with me and Trish, I don't want you guys to think that I'm trying to appease anyone else and be stuck in the middle either.
No, I agree. I think...
Because I don't want to be that middleman either.
For me, I didn't think... I went to Trish and I called truce. Like, not called truce. She assumed I was calling truce. But what I was saying is, let's wipe the slate clean. And that's like from the bottom of my heart, that's what I have done, and that's
For
what I wanted to
yourself,
do.
yeah.
I didn't want to cling on to any preconceived notions that I may have had, because in a way, me saying about the 4-week thing, I think a part of me did have her in my mind as well, because I know that I have judged her actually quite harshly and wrongly.
And I said that to her, like, from my point of view as well.
That was in my 5. So do you know after...
To her, she's deflecting some of the hurt she might be experiencing
To us.
on us
And mainly Chanel.
in a sense, and that's not fair. But if that's helping her cope, and at the time us maybe deflecting about Paul helped us cope, then so long as when you're on the outside world you see it for what it is, then I don't think I really don't think that anything major has happened.
For me, like in that situation with the Paul and Trish's argument, he never got that conversation of why she thought that. It was in the last moment before he got booted and he got
It was too close to the call.
that he had to go up to her.
But I did say...
You really made me face my fears, and I actually fear for my time in here if you weren't here.
That's why in that week 3 I was
When I
like,
really fear.
When I first cried in the house, the first thing I was like, "Where's Trish? I need to go and tell her." I was like, "You'll be so proud of me."
I was so proud
and
of
like
you.
you sort out all our problems and our grievances and our issues. Like you're the one who can like help see a different perspective.
I literally, in the diary room, I literally always talk about like, oh well, if that happens, I'll just book another appointment with Trish in the mezzanine.
And if you can, and somehow you can do it from a balance, even though you're friends with all of us and we go through grievances, even in this group, up and down, you're able to like talk sense into us all when we need it.
I try and live in cloud cuckoo
The
land.
one in the storeroom has gone. Sorry for interrupting.
The what?
Already?
Cocktail, please.
Yes.
Everyone wants the crocodile. But anyway, I try and live in cloud cuckoo land and pretend like there aren't any problems in my life. And Trish is like, can you? And I'm like,
I did that to Jordan as well. I can feel Jordan be like, oh, I'm trying to pretend everything's okay.
Yeah, same.
And she just keeps bringing me back.
I know, Trish, you make me realise I'm not perfect.
I live my head in the clouds. I'm like, everything's fine and dandy up here. There's no drinks wars and there's no divides. Blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, can you just...
And Trish is like...
Because it's naturally okay to acknowledge these uncomfortable things.
I'll just have one.
And you like to acknowledge uncomfortable things.
I
You
really
like to sweep them under the carpet.
I really thought I could like hold my breath until the end of this experience. Then I made it too far to keep holding my breath. And then I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to acknowledge all the negativity.
You know, to be on mosquito again.
I'm fine.
Have you got some?
I'm good, thank you, Dime.
Everyone got some? Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's definitely got some.
You collected all the face. Did you split the...
She always give me things that she thinks is healthy. So that's why I was thinking, it's already given me a first impression that vegetable is something healthy, but not tasty. That's why my mom would always remind me to have it. So that's left me a first impression that I don't want a vegetable.
Yeah.
However, one day I just realized pak choy is delicious.
What is?
Pak choy, no.
I thought it was
pak choy.
Pak choy
I love pak choy.
so delicious.
What is that?
It's so nice. Oh my
That's what you get in the Asian supermarket.
Yeah, and then I started to love vegetable, and I blame my mother. Why you always try to push me to eat it? Why it's so delicious?
She could just, not push me.
Yeah, so because my parents, some like it's like a common thing that parents prevent kids to eat sugar candies. That's why it makes them want it more.
Exactly.
When you open a gate for them, they can.
now. I want to go peacefully for the rest of
no more
my
lessons.
time. Stop teaching me lessons, Big Brother, every day.
Trish, stop teaching me lessons.
Yeah, Trish.
Every day I think I'm done, and then there's another lesson around the corner.
Can we not just be bad people for once? And just be toxic? Just let us have that for one day.
Do you know what's so funny? Is we were talking before about the fact that in real life, you can actually, like, survive not having insight. Ignorance is bliss, but when you come
on
here...
TikTok and just be like...
I know. And then when you come here, you're like, forced to have insight. I'm like...
We had some good questions.
We did. And I tell you what, my response was absolutely beautiful to that.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think ours was hard because we had to... We knew yous were watching.
You did. It was
My answer
funny.
was no, from
You were
sick
funny.
fuck.
Right, what was your answer to that?
To what? She got to spend the first
I thought
day.
you were funny.
We said, Jenkin, whoever arranged it, she should. I said, but
I
for
thought I
me,
was quite serious
I would
in
never
that
let them have the first
podcast.
day.
Imran was funny when she did what was
Do you know
it?
ASMR.
No,
I don't know.
I don't know an Eden either, but
You should have done us doing the ASMR.
No.
We were like,
I don't know which was
were we,
England.
when did we start going on the screen?
we were like, when you sat down.
When we
Oh,
sat,
like straight
so
off the
did you see me go like that with the water and start gargling it? And
No.
Jordan was like, "Oh Christ!"
No, we didn't do that.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed doing that with Jordan, actually.
He's actually quite funny on a podcast.
But when I was there, I just felt like, I could imagine Jordan doing a podcast and I could imagine you doing it, and I was like the loose lemon, like, well, what you have to remember, guys, like.
It was that minute where there was just dead silence. I was like, silence is bad.
But no, the weirdest thing was, do you know Jordan's joke? There was something about a joke. Couldn't tell you what the fuck the question was because I was daydreaming just after like this.
There was
And I was like, oh, I should be listening. And then you looked at me to answer, and I was like,
There was one question about Tom or Howlin. So the question was something along the lines of like, what's the most romantic thing you've ever done for a girl? And obviously Tom has spoken so much about like how he's not romantic and how he struggles with that side in Reba. And Yinran said something like, it's not sometimes like materialistic things. It could just be the case of like a good morning message, or then I was like, yeah, sometimes it could be like in the middle of the day, like how's your day? Like just being attentive, basically, we're trying to say. And I was like, the thing is, Tom, is not, not messaging me in the middle of the day to ask me how the day's going. It's or no, I said something like, yeah, Tom, you can give him a message in the day and not a message what time you're finishing work.
I wish we got to see them though.
I'm annoyed that we didn't get to.
Yeah, because it must have been quite nice to sit down on like on a night time and watch
To be fair, I was rinsing Tom on there. Wasn't I? I was rinsing you a little bit on our podcast.
I really felt the pressure knowing that they were all
Yeah, but
watching.
when I said that was my ick,
same.
I wasn't
Because
actually
it was all
in your
relative
shoes with
to
my
what
ick,
was
but
going on.
Yeah,
you
so
brought
we're
it up.
just questions plucked out of thin air.
Like saying, were there two about meshing and what time you finish work?
It's not what time you finish work.
Is that cream still on the floor?
No. So me and Jordan sorted.
And then it was like, one of the questions was, who would you snog in the house?
He said Jenkins.
And why? The thing is...
Did you say that?
Cop out.
Cop out.
So you just you're Jenkins cop out.
No, I didn't say that.
Confidence boost.
No,
No,
he
Liv.
said because you would be very passionate or something. What did you say? It was hilarious.
I said, we've seen how he uses his tongue. I'm sure it'll be passionate.
He's done you.
And I'm there like, Tom is so good. I should proud of him, Tom. You can do
The thing is, Tom, I would have said you that you're the only one I would snog in this house, but then I was like, that would be fucking awkward.
So what did you say?
Matty.
I was just like, I've never kissed anyone before in my life, so I was like, technically, I need lessons before I can just like,
Oh my God, Chanel, we're so tactical. No, see, as I was pouring out a glass of wine for Noki, I went, and he go, Noki, she was like, thank you, Sister Olivia. Because obviously I was like, I think you'll think I'm a maniac, but I'm actually a nun.
Yeah.
me and Yunron, it looked very different.
Henry, in real life, right, when I'm in Tesco and I can't reach something on the shelf, I'm like to the closest guy that I can see who's tall, I'm like, I actually can't reach that on the shelf. Like, please, can you help me, like, reach that? And, like, they're loving it. And I'm happy to give them that moment to be, like, for me to be a damsel.
Yeah.
And also she said it rule number 13. Yeah.
Rule number 13, being a hypocrite. There's times where, like, it's in context and there's times where it's not.
Yeah.
So at work, I'm like, don't do that. But if I'm in the supermarket and I can't reach something on the shelf, and I need your help.
It's all contextual,
If I can't reach
basically.
on the shelf, I'll ask what's it?
No, but like, I mean, like, in that...
But you wouldn't turn into a damsel in distress. You just ask for help.
No.
Yeah. But whereas me, I don't mind being seen as, like, needing help in that situation. Or if my bags are heavy and I'm in the airport and a guy comes and helps me, I'm not going to say no. I will be a hypocrite in that moment and be like, thank you so much. Like, oh, my God, that's so, like, helpful, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That is rule number 13. Like, there's context. So even, like, the young lady in the woods or whatever on a walk, I'm so happy to be called that. But at work, not so much.
And maybe if it happens to you at work.
Food critics, and they're like, why is there like a 20-something
Yeah, it's the same
like,
thing.
Yeah.
old people? But I'm like, yeah, it's just because I'm different to...
But
And
you
may
should
be
so
indifferent to
embrace
it, like,
that.
yeah.
And do you know what? Even like when I worked in the engineering firm, and even now when I work in finance, I always go to work looking glam because that's who I am. And if you judge me for it, I will challenge you to adjust yourself as opposed to just adjusting myself. Like, it's annoying when you get people making assumptions about you because of the way that you look or the way that you are. But you shouldn't adjust yourself for that. People should, like, learn from it. But I also understand when people make mistakes and, like, don't read it properly. Like, I'm just like, whatever. But I try and stay strong in my, like, in who I am. And if people want to judge based on that or treat me differently, then whatever. But sometimes it is annoying. Yeah, it is
If you're calling someone like, oh, hello, young lady, out of a lovely, respectful thing, amazing. But if you're saying it to belittle their, say, credentials, then it can be a bit like, oh, like, no, I'm actually a consultant doctor, not a young lady, excuse me. You would never say that to him. You wouldn't say, hello. If I walk in the room, no one's like, hello, boy. I'd be like, who are you talking to? Like, I'm your doctor. Like, what are you on about? I mean, no one would ever has said anything like to me, but hello, young girl. And it's like, who are you talking to? You know, like it, because it's not ever felt for me that way, I can empathize why girls can be.
Sorry, you know I wanted to say something.
But I just think I think that's the time we should stand out for ourselves, but just we can't change others' view and others' rights to leave comment, and especially when they didn't experience the same thing and they think it's just a random or even friendly thing. So label like strong young lady and happy, positive shouldn't be a scary word to use.
No.
But
and it's not supposed to be. And that's what I'm saying. Then we need to adjust what we see as strong. You know, if we find ourselves only labeling people who are not showing emotional vulnerability as strong, maybe there's a way we need to see strength rather than stop saying the word strong. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
If we find ourselves constantly always calling men who don't show softer emotions as strong, then maybe we need to encourage men who do show vulnerability as strong. It's not necessarily about getting rid of the word strong, it's how we use it.
Yes.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
And that's something we can always speak about because we've seen the impact of how it turns out.
Yeah. Can you see how, I think this is a very good example, the whole young lady thing.
Yeah.
People taking offence of that.
About it.
Yeah, I pick my battles with the older
do
people.
you know what I mean? Like, you in a space like this, we would be like, oh, I don't really like that. But you're not going to go to old person, listen here, don't call me a young...
This is a space where, like, you feel safe with friends who've had a reflective conversation a day.
You just won't take that battle on outside of expressing in the conversation that you're not comfortable with. But in regards to, like, example, like woke and stuff, I don't think that's been a terminology that's been happening for a while, that I can say old people learn it in their 20s. I think that's a very new terminology, and it's been very much introduced in a certain way. So for me, it's like, if you can learn it in a discriminative way, you can unlearn it. That's where I'm at. Because I'm like, that's a new word.
The terms like woke.
Yeah, that's not
Which
something
only
you
came about in the past 5 to 10 years.
That's not something that you learned in your 20s and now you're 80 and you can't change it. Do you know what I mean? I understand having to unlearn is very difficult, but if you just learn that recently, you can definitely learn that using it in a certain way is offensive.
Yeah, like my grandma
because you've managed to learn to use it in a patronising way.
Woke was actually created as a term to wake up to discrimination
social issues,
and to social issues.
But if we're honest, I think woke was very much in the black community.
Yeah,
it was. It was.
Yeah.
I'm woke.
Yeah.
I'm woke.
Yeah.
But the way it's gotten out now is very recent. That is actually being used to kind of like mock people.
It's mock.
Yeah, that's a new thing to use it in that way.
It's
so
reclaiming a word for negative purposes.
Yeah, so for me, that's a sense of cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
So if you're going to use it in a derogatory way, you've learned that recently, so you can unlearn that. Because that's not something that's been in your mind for over 30 years, and you're struggling to adjust
that's
it.
a really good
You've
measure.
learned that very recently.
And snowflake.
So I'm not going to allow you. It's like, for me, if I realise you've learned racism recently, you better unlearn that.
But like these more sort of lesser issues.
Yeah.
That
I think
are
that's
kind of
insidious
magnitude.
because then you demean the entire fight to, oh, all these people are woke because they're caring about young lady. No, we're actually being called woke because of black, gay, trans issues.
Yeah.
And they like to be sensational and say because we can't say hi to people anymore because that's offensive. Like,
I always try not
but I can
to
also
like
understand why you're saying it's a minefield.
But I feel like
Sorry,
woke
Alfie,
is
sorry
being
for
labelled as everything because that's not the reason why people are called woke. It's almost like rubbing out the reason why there's actually the meaning
and
of
attaching
woke.
it to the menial reasons.
Yeah, and attaching it to ridiculousness.
Like these menial reasons, these smaller reasons why we're talking about now. This is actually the first time I've ever had a conversation with anyone about like things like young lady and strong ever. But it's only because
I didn't know young lady was offensive until just 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, but also even for me,
or can be in certain situations,
even
certain
though
contexts.
I know
Not
the effects of young lady that I felt. I don't really talk about them because it's not a big enough issue for me to talk about. And I do think it's like my responsibility to not be entertained by those small issues and to really stay focused. I think in a lot of the woke conversations, it's an attempt to distract you from the big things. And